What's going on, everybody? So today we are going to be going to be changing out my front track bar on my Jeep, my LJ06 Rubicon, and this is hopefully going to be the second to the last part of the changes that I do to my Jeep. The first I did is I changed the tie rod and the drag link, and now I'm going to be changing the front track bar. So the only thing that's really left after that is me to go ahead and change the steering box, which I do have, but I'm going to be doing that a little bit later. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and send it. All right, I got the Jeep parked down here to make it as level as I can. So when it comes time to do the leveling and the adjusting to make sure everything is centered up, it's all ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is, number one, find what I'm going to be spraying. Here we go. I want to go ahead and spray some penetrating oil, some WD-40 up into there, and let that go ahead and, sorry about the angle there. I'm going to go ahead and let that just soak for a little bit while I go get all my tools and everything out and get ready to remove everything. All right, we got everything set up here, and just to kind of cover the parts so far, I spent about $330 on the track bar, including shipping and tax and everything. And then at Home Depot, I went ahead and picked up this metal 9/16 drill bit that we're gonna have to drill out one hole. That was about 20 bucks. And then for the ball joint separator and some of the semi-flat paint, that came out to be just under 20 bucks too. So $40, $330, $370 total for all the parts I needed to purchase. If you had these other parts already, then it would only be $330 for this. All right, so let's go ahead and come on over. This should be fairly easy to do. I am only going to be taking out this bolt right there, and then I'm going to be taking out, as I mentioned, that one right there, and hopefully everything drops down no problem. All right, good news and some bad news. Good news is I already had the part that I just went and picked up from Home Depot. The bad news is, so I get to return it with no cost. Bad news is I just lost some time, so let's get back to it. Remove this part. This is going to be a little tricky for me because I'm using a crescent wrench here. All right, let me tell you some of the trials and tribulations I've been going through. So I am having problems finding a socket that will fit here and allow enough room for my ratchet to fit in there. So the deep socket fits over just fine, but unfortunately I don't have enough place to put the ratchet itself. And so then I got the shallower one, and unfortunately this bolt right here is stopping it from getting completely over here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and just start cutting off the bolt itself with the angle grinder, and we're just going to go from there. So after enlisting the help of my neighbor who came over, basically I had to use his help to hold one end while he cracked the other one, and then he basically took it the rest of the way down while I held the top end. But that took a lot harder than it was supposed to, at least according to every other video I got. But this is definitely does not, well, let me rephrase this. I'm fairly certain, yeah, no, this does not look to be stock or OEM. This is an aftermarket piece. I just don't know what kind it is. So let's go ahead and hope that the rest of it goes smoothly from this point on. But before we go ahead and set it up, let's compare at least these two and see what this one looks like compared to the Synergy. All right, well, we got the Synergy, I think it's like called the dual durometer bushing here, which allows this to rotate and move freely here. The metal isn't necessarily binded to the rubber, giving a little bit more ability to, you know, less bind free. And this does appear to be a little bit thicker. And I got dual adjustment here, so once I get this on, I shouldn't have to take it off to make any other adjustments. I just got to loosen this up right here and then make the adjustment right here. Now, one thing that is concerning to me is, right off the bat, let me put this in the light. This is a lot thinner than this one. So it looks like potentially the previous owner drilled this out to get that one in there. So I'm going to go ahead and place this in there and see how much play there is. I might have to go and get some sort of a casing to take up some of the thickness. But let's see. All right, before we tighten everything down, I just want to make sure I'm within spec. I can't be greater than 3 1/4 inches from the thread, first part of the threads to the zerk fitting, and I am well within that at about 2 1/2, 2 5/8. All right, I got her tightened down near to 55 pounds and ugly cotter pin, but hey, it's on there. And I got her down here, torqued down to 80 foot-pounds. And yeah, the next thing is for me to do is to line everything up, make sure the axle center, and then do the final adjustments here, and then go ahead and tighten her down. So let's go ahead and straighten her up. All right, I don't know how much I can show or not, but I got her probably within 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch centered. I was basically 1 inch long to this side, so I had to move it that way 1/2 inch, and now I'm right about there. I'm not going to get too crazy and get down to it. I'll let my alignment shop go ahead and get that all lined up, but if I'm within about 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch, I think that's good enough. Now, what was going to be done, I am going to go ahead and tighten down add the nut and the bolt there and tighten her down so she doesn't move on me. But I got one more adjustment. Let me show you. My steering wheel is off, so I need to go ahead and adjust that. So I'm going to go ahead and fasten her down so she doesn't move, and then I'm going to adjust the steering wheel back. So let's go ahead and do that real fast. All right, let me show you what I need to do. I'm actually here at an auto hobby place trying to get this fixed because I needed the drop pitman arm, or the tie rod link removal tool. But when I was trying to straighten up the steering wheel, this was basically all the way compressed, and you can see I still got thread here. So what I need to do is basically wind it up so it's all the way here, and then open up both sides at the same time by turning this nut only. And it wasn't very clear that that's what you needed to do from the instructions. So in order to extend this, don't rotate the end like I erroneously did. Basically make sure it's all the way closed from this side, twist it so it's all the way closed, and then expand it using only this bolt right here. All right, to give you an idea what I mean, so what I'm talking about, I've now tightened it all the way in as far as it goes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this from here until it fits right here. And then that should give me, when I get this lined up and back in there, into the pitman arm, then I should be able to go ahead and just tighten from here and never have to ever worry about basically removing this again. All right, I got everything bolted down to torque specs. Got the castle nuts down to 55, maybe actually a little bit more. I had to twist them to get the hole in position. And then in order to in order to basically counter the drilled out hole here, I had to put a stack of washers here in order for the nut to basically fit here with the cotter pin to hold it in place. So that's all into place. So now the next step is for me to go ahead and get out the GoPro, and we'll do a little test drive and see how much the steering is fixed. All right, so the videos you're about to see, the two videos side by side, I'm going to go ahead and play them with no sound so you can just kind of focus in on the video. I'm going to run it for about 30 seconds so you can get a good feel for any change on them. On the one side, after changing the steering links, that's going to be the first upgrades that I did. And then with the front track bar that I just installed, you'll be able to see the difference between the two. Maybe you'll see some, maybe you don't, but let's send it. All right, so what do you guys think? Were you able to see a difference in the steering? I can tell you what, I definitely have noticed a steering difference. The front track bar by far was the best thing, or at least the best fix with it, or had the most amount of correction by changing that one bar than doing the tie rod and the drag link with the bad bushings. So if you're having an issue with that, I definitely, a lot of play in the steering, definitely recommend you take a look at your front track bar before you take a look at the other things. All right, so I'm going to be getting back at about the time this video gets out. And when I got back, my new steering dampener had just come in, my Falcon one that goes with the Synergy system. So I'll be installing that over this weekend. And then I'll be getting that video out early next week. And then a little bit later, probably a little over a month or so, I'm going to go ahead and replace the steering box. I just want to kind of drive it around with got my wheels aligned and everything. So I want to get a good feel for everything before I go ahead and change the steering on it and get a good feel for playing with the different settings, because I got the adjustable Falcon steering dampener. And I want to be able to give you guys some good feedback on that. But anyways, I'll see you guys here in a little bit. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.